Welcome. My name is Obin Danko. Good evening. I want to share with you one of the things, or one of the topics that is very intriguing and very much important. When I was growing up, when I heard of wisdom, it intrigued me. When I heard of knowledge, it moved me to study. Whenever I heard of understanding, I wanted to know what it meant. And the three seemed to be, a bit confusing, because people talk of wisdom, some others will talk of understanding, and then some others will talk of knowledge. It's important that you at least once in your lifetime study what these three mean, because I can't understand why people would want to talk to people about how to become successful, how to be diligent, how to set goals with their lives, how to become somebody, and they don't seem to explain the ancient words, wisdom, knowledge, understanding to people. And so you go to organizations, you go to churches, you go to schools, and you hardly hear somebody explain these things to people. They teach us mathematics, they teach us English, they teach us history, they teach us chemistry, physics, they teach us, and then they teach us about all the things they teach us about. But until you yourself, you understand some of these things and how separate and how they apply to whatever results that you get in your life, for your life, you will never be able to separate the three and even know about them. So I am sharing with you briefly what I think wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, what I think they mean, and how they relate to you succeeding. There are things that you hear all the time. You hear of the human body. They say that the human body has a spirit, has a soul, has a body. And so when you see a human being, you cannot take one, and for the human being you cannot see just the body is there and the spirit is not there, and you say that you have a complete human being. Or you can see that the soul is there, the body is gone, the spirit is gone, and you have a complete man. No, there are three. For you to meet any human being on this earth, you would if they can talk and smile and walk, they have a physical body, they have a spirit, they say, and they have a soul, the ability, the intellect, their emotions. And so I think that wisdom, knowledge, understanding come in that kind of form, that if you talk of knowledge, you talk of understanding, you talk of your wisdom, I think they relate. I don't think that you would have to separate the three per se. When you see wisdom, when you see somebody with wisdom, is you're seeing somebody who has some kind of knowledge. And when you see somebody with wisdom and knowledge, you're seeing somebody who has some kind of understanding, because I think that they are three. They run in shape, and every one of us would have to study it by ourselves and know that they apply. I think that the most important things in life for people to succeed are for people to know whilst they are growing up. They don't tell us early, and so we can live all our lives not knowing what wisdom is. And so you hear, oh, King Solomon, he was a man of wisdom. That's all that we hear. And then they say that, oh, if you nyansanko na school nyansanko, those kind of things. But what do they mean? What do they mean? So let's see what we talk about today. So I believe that knowledge is acquired by learning. Information comes to us and we get some kind of knowledge from it. Knowledge is acquired. And it depends on which knowledge you acquire to get which resource. And so knowledge is separated. It's a complex subject. It depends on what you're talking about. Understanding comes by practicing. That is what I see. Understanding, you get knowledge, but when you start to practice with the knowledge, you get understanding. And understanding has some bit of human element in the knowledge that you have acquired. I will give you an example. And so let's say you are learning how to drive a car. You go to school, or you go to driver school, they give you some kind of information. In a way, the information that they give you, the one that stays with you, is they are giving you knowledge on how to drive. But you cannot say that you understand what they told you in a strictest form until you apply that knowledge, until they start to teach you how to drive the car, and you move the car on the street or on the road. And so understanding really comes with you practicing, with the human element in it. How the knowledge they have told you, or the knowledge that they have given you, applies to the benefit of yourself and to the benefit of society. That's how understanding comes. Now, wisdom is the one that pushes you to put the knowledge and understanding that you have into practice. That thing that will force you to take that first step. It's your wisdom. Wisdom shows your courage. It shows your boldness. If you start to move something, if you start to do something, anything that you start to do, at the point of you starting, show the kind of wisdom, the level of wisdom you have in starting. And so if somebody can know everything, they have a lot of knowledge, but they don't have the courage to start because their wisdom is not there. And they will know how to put that knowledge into practice and to tell you everything, but they cannot start. If they cannot start that thing, it means that their wisdom is weak. Wisdom is that thing which gets you to start and to push going. And so I am talking about knowledge, I'm talking about understanding, I'm talking about wisdom. And I say that they run in a circle. You can't really separate the three. I even think that sometimes they just use different words to describe them. But we all carry some bit of knowledge, some bit of understanding, some bit of wisdom in stages. If, let's say, if you were to measure knowledge, and I say that, okay, the knowledge that you have is about 2 gig. Okay, it's like maybe a computer whose hard drive has about 2 gig capacity. You cannot put 5 gig data on that computer which has 2 gig capacity. It's the same. So our results reflect the level of our knowledge, the level of understanding, and the level of our wisdom. We cannot get another knowledge, or we cannot get another resource, another delivery, or perform at a certain level until our knowledge is picked at that level, until our wisdom is picked at that level, until our understanding is picked at that level. Now, for any change to happen, there has to be a new knowledge. You cannot go to the next level until there is a new knowledge. There's a new knowledge. And when you get that new knowledge, until you start to practice that knowledge, you will not have understanding of it. And the confidence to even operate at that level will come from the kind of wisdom that you have acquired. So once the knowledge starts to come in, you see that your wisdom starts to move up. Once the knowledge starts to come in, you see that your understanding starts to go up. And so they run in a cycle. The best form of wisdom is to know which knowledge you need to change your situation. That's the best form of wisdom. So you see, as humans as we are, a lot of us waste our time on things that are not important. We master things that don't get us results, and we are not even aware. And it's that much prevalent in our part of the world, where we focus so much on the things that will not get us out of the result, out of the troubles, out of the difficulties that we have. So wisdom is that which pushes you to start something, is that which makes you do something. That is wisdom. Understanding is what you get when you start to practice what you know. And knowledge comes from you learning. Knowledge. A lot of us get information. The one that stays with you becomes your knowledge. Now, most of us were told to just depend on the knowledge that comes from school. And so, say chemistry, it's knowledge. It's knowledge. Now, when you start to practice that chemistry knowledge that he gave you, you have some kind of understanding in chemistry. If you're able to use that knowledge to produce anything, you have wisdom in that. And so wisdom, knowledge, understanding comes in various forms. What they have told us for us to focus on is that a lot of us have just focused on religious religious knowledge, religious understanding, and religious wisdom. And then we have left everything, because they told us that what is important is just that which comes from the Bible. All nations, all cultures, all civilizations have moved because people started to study wisdom. They started to study knowledge, and they studied understanding. No people will change until their wisdom increases, until their understanding improves, until their knowledge increases. We cannot hold on to that which does not work and expect that our whole generation, our whole country will move to the next step. So it's the same as even with your personal life. We all operate at a certain knowledge, and that's why we get the results at that level of knowledge, that level of understanding, that level of wisdom. If we want us to move to the next level, we would have to increase in the knowledge. We would have to increase in the practice of the knowledge which comes with understanding, and we would have to increase in the wisdom, because the wisdom is that which pushes you to start something, is that which pushes you to go. And so if some people just have head knowledge and that's it, that's why their wisdom is weak. So you can see somebody who knows a lot about finances. He knows everything about how to start a business. He can teach people how to start a business, how to write business plan, everything. But he has never started a business before. He cannot do it. All he has is the head knowledge. He has never tried to even practice it. So he doesn't understand what he's teaching you. He can teach you to write the exam and pass and get a PhD in business administration. But he has never ever put it into practice. So his understanding is different. And his wisdom is even weak, because there's no courage for him to put that which he knows into practice. And everybody, every one of us, every country, every company, every people express the level of life that we express. We express them according to the wisdom that we have, according to the knowledge that we have, and according to the understanding that we have. Okay, so wisdom helps us to produce results. Our health, our prosperity, even our happiness, our joy, what we call success, they are hinged on wisdom that we have. They are hinged on the understanding that we have. They are hinged on the knowledge that we have. The expression of your love, the expression of your hope in life, even the expression of your faith, they all reflect the kind of wisdom that you have, the kind of knowledge that you have, the kind of understanding that you have. And they work in stages. When I was, let's say, 20 years, the kind of understanding that I had is not the same thing that I have today. I have read, I've practiced, I've taken steps, I've made some mistakes, and I keep growing. So my knowledge in some things have increased. Let's say what I do for a living is that I practice as a business person. Now, if I have a certain knowledge in that and I start to practice it, I increase in it. My wisdom also increases in that. Somebody who has never practiced that cannot operate at the same level with me in that field, in that business. If somebody else is a carpenter, they gave him knowledge. He starts to practice his carpentry skill. He gets understanding in how he does his craft. Anytime that he has courage to do something and produce results, his wisdom is working. That's why some people say that wisdom is the ability to apply knowledge. It's true. It's true. And so your life is only reflecting the kind of wisdom that you have acquired. And the wisdom that you get from a subject in a college and the wisdom that you have to get to live a successful life may not necessarily be the same. You probably went to school and they taught you about maybe accounting, about catering. You cannot use that knowledge for every aspect of your life. For instance, you may not be able to use that knowledge only to create prosperity and even to build a very successful home or to even build a very successful life. Even your health, the kind of health that you have as a person is reflecting the kind of knowledge, the kind of understanding, the kind of wisdom that you have. If I come to your company and how things are done, they reflect the kind of wisdom, the kind of understanding, the kind of knowledge that you have. If you go to any country, what you see done in the country, how they do their things, how they clean the environment, how they take care of their people, how they handle their finances, how the police people work, how the teachers work, how the politicians take care of the people or think of the people, how their leaders talk to the people, they just reflect the composite knowledge that the country has. They reflect the composite understanding that the country has, and they reflect the composite wisdom that they exhibit. So they can't move to the next level until they get another exposure to a certain knowledge. And so you see honor. If you see somebody who honors people, who respects people, there's a certain amount of wisdom that he has. There's amount of wisdom that he has. So the three, I think that the three, in a way, wisdom, knowledge, understanding, they run in a circle. You cannot really take one and see the others work effectively. Because if you see a man who has wisdom, you will see a man who has some bit of understanding, and you see a man who has thirst for knowledge. Okay, so, and you see a man with knowledge, you will see that this man starts to express wisdom and starts to express understanding. So when you want to get to the next level, you only get to the next level by knowledge acquisition. Your finances are at, say, 1,000. If you want to get to 20,000, you need different kind of knowledge. You need different kind of financial knowledge to get to the next level. So you get only to the next level by getting that knowledge and by practicing that knowledge. And then when you start to practice that knowledge, you start to also take risk with that knowledge. The moment you dare to take risk with that knowledge, you are expressing wisdom. Because wisdom is therefore that pushes you to put what you know into practice, or what you know into resource. Okay, so it applies to life, in business, in finance, in marriage, in country, everywhere. The three are responsible for what we call our purpose in life. Our purpose in life. Your sense of purpose is really established in how you understand what they call wisdom, in how you understand what they call knowledge, and how you understand what they call understanding. And so when I was a young man, I used to read a lot of the book of Proverbs. And I was always intrigued when they said, they always rhyme. You see, next time the man is talking about wisdom, then the other day he's talking about understanding, the next day he's talking about knowledge, and they try to, it was hard for me to separate the three. He says this, he calls this, he calls that. But your character, the things that you value, the value that you place on things, they reflect your wisdom. The things that you value, the expression of your character. If you're a man who is very dishonest, that expresses the level of wisdom that you have. If you're somebody who has integrity, it expresses your wisdom. Because you cannot be a wise man who doesn't have integrity. Wisdom for life. You cannot be a wise man without love, without faith. You cannot be a man of knowledge without hope, who does not value people. And so you see that all the results that we get in our personal lives, in our business lives, in our career, in the country, they express the kind of wisdom that we have. In this life, nothing more is responsible for the successes that you enjoy more than the wisdom that you operate with. And so you better go and study what they call wisdom, because it's everything, especially on this earth. They rather told us to just go for academic knowledge, and they left the wisdom that is responsible for successful life. We left it. And so when you are attracted to wisdom, when you are attracted to knowledge, you are attracted to understanding. These are some of the words that you continuously think about. You hear words like instruction. You hear words like fear of God, learning, training, work, love, hate. What do you hate? What do you love? They express the kind of exposure that you have. What is it that gets your attention? What is it that you pay attention to? What compassion do you have? What's the level of compassion? What is the level of your integrity? They express your level of wisdom. They express your level of knowledge. They express your level of understanding of very important things in life. And so it's not just this is my personal opinion and this is the way I want to do things. If you fall on the side of wisdom, life is very easy. It's easy. Life has its own problems, but you're able to go through life because you fall on the side of wisdom. Now, if you fall on the other side of wisdom, life is painful. Life is struggling because you don't value the things that make things life easy for you to live. And so when you see somebody who goes for knowledge, who goes for understanding, who goes for wisdom, you see somebody who is preparing to succeed. Is preparing to succeed. So my name is Obinda Ako. I'm talking about wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And a lot of the young men and women that we have in this world today is not one of the words that they look up to at all. They don't look for it. They don't look for wisdom. They rather look for Chelsea. They rather look for you know it and I know it. Your wisdom is expressed in how you work, how you handle your resources, how you handle your time, how you treat people. Your wisdom is expressed in that. It's not just chasing money. Would you sacrifice your peace and your happiness for money? Would you sacrifice your health for money? Would you sacrifice your integrity for money, your personal values for money? That expresses your level of wisdom. And so what you even call success is contingent on on the level of understanding that you have of life, the level of knowledge that you have. We were not born with it. We pick it. We learn it. And they highly depend on where we were born, who trained us, who is your teacher, who trains you, who teaches you. Those things form your wisdom. They form the base of knowledge that you have, and they form the understanding that you have. And those express in either you're frustrated with your life or you're at peace with your life, whether you know what to do with your life or you're very confused. When you see somebody who is confused, it's the absence of wisdom. It's the absence of the right knowledge. It's the absence of understanding. And so when you hear people talking, when you see somebody who is always trying to lie and cheat and cut people, it's a proof of absence of wisdom. So it's not really religious per se, because all civilizations have their own understanding, have their own philosophy. I remember I was reading some documents some years back, and they were trying to say that, Africans don't have philosophy. They have something. I didn't do philosophy in school, so I can't say it. But I couldn't understand why you would say that everybody else has philosophy and wisdom sayings in their culture, but for the Africans, they don't have that. Is it true? It's not true. Don't believe it. We have not been able to separate the African culture from the African religion. We've not been able to separate African philosophy from occasions and ceremonies. And so we confuse the religion. For instance, if you confuse African leadership with the African religion, if you meet any chief at all, if you go to any of these people that we call traditional rulers, you see that they represent some bit of African culture, and then they also have the African religion. So they have the gods that they call. Now, they want to tell us that if you're an African, then you would have to have the African religion. It's not necessarily so. The culture should be able to be separate from the religion. That's why you can meet an Arab who is not a Muslim, but he's an Arab. You can meet a Jewish person who doesn't practice Judaism or practice Christianity, but he's a Jewish person. You should be able to meet an African or an Ashanti man who is an Ashanti, who has Ashanti culture, but who may not practice the Ashanti traditional religion. And so there should be a separation between the two. Now, I'm saying this to say that our understanding, or what we call wisdom, or what we call knowledge, it has been affected by our background, by the things that we call culture. And so sometimes they even affect the way we work and our level of taste for excellence. And those of us who don't want to be lost in Western culture, we want to develop our own culture, tend to have always to debate with people who think that if you say that you're an African, then why are you a Christian? I had a friend ask me the same question. If you so much believe in being an African, why do you practice Christianity? Because the Europeans came to destroy everything with Christianity. Then I tell them that if I read the icons in history, if I read about the people who came to live, if I read about the things that Muhammad said, Buddha said, if I read about what Confanochi said, if I read about what Jesus said, I think I'm more tethered to the wisdom of Jesus than all the others. And that's why I'm a Christian. And it does not mean that if I'm an African, I should take the African religion to be an African. I can practice the African culture of hard work, of respect, of value, of excellence, of creativity, without becoming an European. But my religious beliefs should be separate. Because you can meet an African, or you can meet an Ashanti man who does not believe in God at all, but he doesn't fail to practice the culture. And so when it comes to wisdom, I am tilted to the wisdom of Christ. Why? Because he espouses the value for life. He espouses integrity. He espouses creativity, unlimitedness. That is wisdom. And that is the kind of wisdom that I have. When you listen to Christ, you know that you cannot be stopped. You become fearless. That's why the people who say that they are Christians and who are always being told to be afraid of things, then where is the mind of Christ? Where is the wisdom of God? Because you cannot follow this Christ and be controlled by another man who is teaching you about demons and fear and witchcraft and control everything that you do. And that's why some people don't want the Christianity. But that's not what Christ came to teach. Some people have hijacked it for their benefit, so they have to create fear for everybody who follows them. And that's why the people don't walk in their own wisdom. They don't have this. They don't even value anybody who teaches you about finance, about creativity, about success, and who never teaches you about wisdom, about knowledge, about understanding. It's only teaching you to control you. Because your life will never change until you increase in wisdom, until you increase in understanding, until you increase in knowledge. And so if somebody is always teaching you for you to come, for him to pray for you for the magic, he has actually made a slave out of you. And that is prevalent everywhere. That's why you see that people say that they serve Christ. They go to church every day. But what they're expressing is something different from what the Christ himself came to teach. Because if you follow him, your head will work. Somebody told me that for you to become religious, you may have to hang your mind. You can't think if you become religious. And I agree with him. If it's religion, then your mind does not work. But if it's Christianity, your mind must work. Because wisdom is part of Christianity. As a matter of fact, there's a scripture in the Bible that says that Christ has been made unto us wisdom. Wisdom. And there's another verse that says that the just shall be, by knowledge, the just shall be launched into their inheritance. And so you cannot say that you follow Christ and you are ignorant. You follow Christ and you don't have understanding. It's an oxymoron. It's not true. So nothing is more responsible for the successes that you enjoy at this stage in your life, more than the level of knowledge that you're operating with, more than the knowledge, the understanding that you have, and the wisdom that you have. Don't buy it. Your finances will not change until your wisdom, your financial wisdom, is improved. Even your relationships will not improve until your wisdom is improved, your knowledge is improved, your understanding is improved. And until you know these three, your life is not going to change. Don't believe in, you see, they try to tell us that it's magic. They can pray for you and then everything around your life will improve. That's why some of them tell us that when we pray for Africa, Africa will progress. Africa is not going to progress until Africa increases in knowledge, until Africa increases in understanding, until Africa increases in wisdom. If you don't know it, 2,000 years will come. We will still be drumming and dancing. And then Chinese will be taking over, the Americans will be taking over. You probably could even be taken over again into slavery. If we don't go for wisdom, if you don't go for understanding, if you don't go for knowledge. So it's not just that things will just change because the time is going by. It's never true. Those who want to change, those who want to improve, they do what it takes to improve. And so your business that you're building is not going to change just because you pray for it. In this world, that which is responsible for resource is knowledge. That which is responsible for wisdom, for resource, is understanding. That which is responsible for progress is wisdom. Without those, and without us understanding them and applying them, nothing will change. Nothing will change. If per chance they even give you $1 million and you have never seen $1 million before, or they give you 10 million Ghana cedis, and they leave it with you, the decisions that you're going to make on that money, those decisions are going to come from the level of wisdom that you have with money, the wisdom the understanding that you have with money, and the knowledge that you have with money. So let's say that you are praying for a miracle, that God will send some billionaire to give you money. When the billionaire has given you the money, that money will destroy you. It will destroy you until your wisdom increases to handle that money. Until your understanding increases. And the understanding comes from practice. The knowledge comes from getting information. And they run. If you're a man of wisdom, you know that you need knowledge. If you're a man of knowledge, you know that you need wisdom. If you're a man of understanding, you know that you need the others. So they run together. They run together. And so study them. Your life, my life reflects the kind of knowledge that I have, the kind of understanding that I have, the kind of wisdom that I have. It's not going to improve just like that. Life does not change just because you got to be 30 years or 40 years. Life changes because you increase in wisdom. You increase in understanding. And you increase in knowledge. And they are responsible for the kind of health that you're enjoying, the prosperity that you're enjoying, the peace that you're enjoying. The love that you exhibit, the hope that you show is a reflection of your wisdom. The character that you have, they show the kind of wisdom that you have. And so nothing is built without wisdom. If there is anything that is built, if you see anybody building anything, they start to build it with wisdom. And it becomes relevant, that which they build becomes relevant and beneficial to society and people by understanding. By understanding. So if you want to start a business, the business that you started, if you started it, that which pushed you to start was wisdom. But if you're able to establish that business well, and you're able to you understand your customer service, your finances, you understand what you do, where the market is going, that is what established the business. Now, the business would have to grow. And for the business to grow, you need infusion of knowledge. So once the knowledge comes in, you go to the next step of building. Your wisdom is jumped to that next step. And then you start to apply the same benefits, the same things that will benefit society and yourself, and you start to know which person to employ to do what, all those things come from the understanding that you have. And so there is no next level until there is increase in knowledge to the next level. But there's no building, there's no starting of anything unless there is wisdom. And there's no establishment of that which you have built, which benefits society, unless there is understanding. So the three run in circle. And you should, instead of you wasting all your time watching all those things, study them. And one of the best places to study about wisdom, I think, is Proverbs. There's a lot, knowledge, understanding. There's a lot of information there. Whether you're a Christian or you're not a Christian, it doesn't matter. Get information, because that your life is only reflecting the kind of understanding that you have, the kind of knowledge that you have, the kind of wisdom that you have. Nothing is more responsible for your life's resource than the wisdom that you operate with, the knowledge that you operate with, the understanding that you operate with. And when you see the way you take even instruction and correction reflects the kind of wisdom that you have. It reflects your knowledge. The words that you use. Do you fear God? Do you believe in God? Are you attracted to the word learning, or you don't like it? Training, or you don't like training? If you like training, you have some level of wisdom. If you have constant passion for knowledge, you have wisdom. You want to become better. You are not just hoping. You do something to get that result. What is your understanding of relationship? Who do you work with? Do you study the people you work with, or you don't care? You just work with anybody, whether they are trustworthy or they are not trustworthy, whether they are crooks or they are not crooks, whether they are good people or they are not good people. Do you study, or you are just sloppy in thinking? Or you have some level of thinking? How do you work? What are your work ethics? They reflect the wisdom that you have. Do you work well? Can you produce results? Do you work, or you just sleep? If you're lazy, it shows that you don't have wisdom. If you're lazy, if you're begging everybody for a living, it shows that you don't have wisdom. If you're complaining, it means that you are weak in wisdom. If you're hateful, your wisdom is weak. Do you hate wickedness, or you love it? Do you love murmuring and complaining and slashing people behind the back? Who do you listen to? The level of the quality of people who impress you shows the level of wisdom that you have. If you're attracted to comedy and jokes and laughing all the time, it's the level of wisdom that you have. And that's why you're hoping that you win the lotto and your finances will change. That will never happen. Because even if you win the lotto, it's still going to take wisdom to establish that money that I give you and to grow it. What is the level of your integrity? Are you an honest person? Are you trustworthy? Are you patient? They express the wisdom that you have, the knowledge that you have, the understanding that you have. Are you compassionate? When you see somebody suffering, do you step in? Or you're selfish? If everything is about you, your wisdom is weak. Your wisdom is weak. And if you believe that things will just change by tomorrow without you putting anything in it, your wisdom is weak. Because it takes diligence to get results. It takes hard work. It takes persistence, perseverance, courage, risk-taking to get results. And so if your wisdom is weak, and they have told you that witchcraft is against you, that's why you're not getting results. They fired you from the job, and you went to this guy, and who told you that, oh, there's a demon somewhere, that's why they fired you. They fired you because you were not effective. You didn't like the work. You were not focused. You were not getting results. That's why they fired you. And this is what wisdom should tell you. This is what understanding should let you know. This is what your knowledge should know. That if you are not progressing, it's not anybody, it's you. If I'm not progressing, it means that I'm limited in skill. I'm limited in knowledge. I'm limited in understanding. That's why I'm not getting the results. The moment I see where I lack and I start to improve, I will get the results. So they place a lot of debate on these things. That's why people don't get ahead in life. Here, because the very important things that they don't have to debate, that's why we debate here. And the ones that we have to debate, those we don't debate. The things that you need, that you just have to flow, we debate them and we call them opinion. And when it comes to the sports and entertainment, that's where we agree. That's why a lot of people don't go anywhere. That's why a lot of people live frustrated life. That's why a lot of people have no peace and rest, because wisdom is responsible for those. Your wisdom gives you rest. It gives you peace. It gives you prosperity. It gives you good relationships. It builds your value and your character. So study them. So wisdom builds, starts. Okay? And then knowledge is what takes it to the next step. And your understanding establishes that which you build. And they all run in circle. You cannot take one from the other. They're apart. And so go for them. Read. Practice. Go for understanding. Study them yourself. Study what is wisdom. Study it. What is understanding? Study it. What is knowledge? Study it. Read about it. Go and get a book about wisdom, about knowledge, about understanding. Read about them. No matter who wrote them, just read. Every human must know that. Every human must know the difference. And every woman must know how they apply to your personal life, to your family life, to your finances, to your career, to even building a country or building a company. They apply. Because no country lives above the level of the composite wisdom of the citizens. No country lives above that. No company can live above the wisdom of the leaders, or the people who work in that. And your family, same. Your mother, your father, or your wife, and you and your children, you just reflect the kind of wisdom that you have, the attention that you have given to wisdom, the knowledge that is needed, and the understanding that is required. And so thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much.